Astroneer is finally getting a DLC. We've known about this since the beginning of the year, but now we've also got some juicy details and some footage, so let's go straight into the fun stuff. First of all, let's talk about pricing. This DLC will be $9.99, so $10. Surprisingly, the pricing was a bit controversial. I honestly expected it to be much higher. I was expecting $20, maybe $30, but we've got it at 10. So Joe, the project lead at Astroneer, mentioned the pricing in a live stream right after the trailer released, but then he also mentioned it in a vlog a couple days later. So it's set in stone, this is gonna be the price, $10. Now, I've seen people complain about this being a paid DLC. They wanted a free update, not an expansion. This is a huge expansion, and you can play it with a friend if he has the DLC, so you don't need to own it to play it. This is a huge thing that System Era has done here. They are allowing you to play the DLC if you join a friend's game and that friend has the DLC, so you don't need to buy it. Most gaming companies don't do that. So System Era is something special here, and that way a lot more people will get a chance to play it. So please stop hating on System Era just because they decided to release a DLC for their game. And I get it, they said in an interview a while ago that they would never release a paid DLC, but that was a couple years ago. And I think the plan was to keep updating the game for free until it made sense and then stop updating it. So rather than having no extra updates for Astroneer, I would much rather have DLCs. And just some speculation on my part, 1 year ago they were acquired by Devolver Digital, so they basically get more funds, but they also have to make more money. And since the last year, I think they've been working on the DLC because it doesn't make sense to update the game for free anymore. However, they still did free updates throughout this whole year, so they've been hard at work. And for that, I think $10 is so worth it. I would honestly pay double or triple that. So that's enough talk about the pricing. Let's talk about what's actually in the DLC. We're gonna have one huge planet, and it's gonna be the biggest one so far in Astroneer. It's not an entire system, but it's a special planet. So the wording they used is a brand new planet in a new solar system. That makes me think that it's a new solar system, meaning a system like multiple planets, but we are getting one planet now in this DLC, so maybe, just maybe, they are planning on adding even more planets in the future. I would love it if that was the case. If they could release one DLC per year with a new planet, that would be amazing, and each of them could have a different story and a different villain or whatever they want to do. But the wording they used, a brand new planet in a new solar system, that just makes me think that the planet isn't the whole solar system. But I don't know, tell me your opinion in the comments below, because this might mean something else entirely. Anyway, the planet is gonna be called Aeolus, and Joe told us how it's pronounced. I don't know if I'm doing it right, to be honest. Aeolus. 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 Aeolus? And in the System Era vlog 39 that released a couple days ago, Joe also said that they initially wanted the planet to also have a moon, but then they decided against it. What he explained basically was that they could add all the content for a different planet, like the moon would be a different planet, a different body, and they had enough time to do all of that, but then the game wouldn't be as optimized, as polished. So they decided, instead of stretching themselves thin to create a moon that's not gonna be that unique anyway, they decided to drop that entirely and just make the planet as good as it can possibly be. And to be honest, I agree with that. Rather than have a planet with a moon and they are both buggy and glitchy, I would rather have a planet that's polished and looking good and has as few bugs and glitches as possible. So you should expect one planet, but here's the catch, it's gonna have multiple biomes on it. I know every planet has multiple biomes, but the normal planets have similar biomes, or they have one theme and each biome circles around that specific theme. But Aeolus, the new planet, will have biomes from all the planets in Astroneer. So it's gonna be so huge that you're gonna get different biomes entirely. If you look at the trailer, you can see stuff from planets that look sort of like Vesania, Kelidor, even Silva, but they're all on the same planet. So that should be really interesting. And they said that it's not going to be 100% procedurally generated, so you will actually know on the planet where something is. That something will still be procedurally generated inside of it, but it will be in the same place for all players. So you can talk to a friend and know that in the west corner of the planet or whatever, you can find the specific biome or the specific thing We still don't know what you will find. But there is a large storm in the trailer that we're gonna talk about in just a second. I just wanted to take a second to talk about Joe's car. He showed it off in the vlog and it's an awesome car. If you're a car guy, you know what's going on. He's got a Donut Media sticker on the back there, so shout out to Joe for being a Donut Media fan. I'm a fan as well, so that's awesome. And if by some chance Joe's listening to this, you've got a cool car, man. I want that car. Next, let's talk about the villain. So this is gonna be the first antagonist in Astroneer. On the Steam description it says a rogue Astroneer has wormed into the system and taken control, threatening against any interlopers who may interfere with this unprecedented power grab. What does that mean? I don't know. But it's a rogue Astroneer, so it's a villain that's just like us. It's an Astroneer, so it's not some kind of supernatural thing. But this Astroneer has wormed into the system, which makes me think of hacking into it, because we're talking about Glitchwalkers. If you remember, at the beginning of the year, we got the roadmap, and 2024 is the year of the glitch, so we're talking glitchy stuff. I honestly think this is the same hacker they were talking about in the description of the second chip from the AMPP event. There's the C model chips, where it says that a hacker was on the loose and Frank has to catch them. I think Lin is that hacker. But again, I'm not sure about that, so make sure you let me know in the comments if you've got another idea of what that might be. So that's all it says about the antagonist in the Steam description. But if you look closer into it, you can find an article by Xbox Wire where they talk about the antagonist a little bit more. Here we find out that it's indeed a hacker, her name is Lin, and she can manipulate the planet. So I'll just read a section here for you. Lin is a disgruntled system expert from the ESS Elysium crew who's created her own reality in an Astroneer universe. So this system, Aeolus, is actually her universe. She created it, and that's why it's all glitchy and stitched together, and that's why one single planet has the biomes from all the others, because she's a hacker and she built this. And the next phrase makes me think that she will be able to shift the planet or change the weather or the environments as she's fighting us. So hear this out. A skilled hacker, Lin can manipulate the planet itself, altering its biomes and atmosphere down to the roots. So she's altering its biome and atmosphere. The atmosphere part means she'll probably use storms against us. But altering its biomes, I don't know if that means it's already altered, so it's different from the normal planets and it's harder. They said this is gonna be harder. Or if she's altering it throughout the story, so as you're playing the DLC, a biome can change or new things can appear, like new plants or harder plants to deal with or extra hazards. I don't know if that's what they mean. That would be pretty ambitious if they wanted to do that. But then it says down to the roots, so that makes me think of the core of the planet. Maybe that's where we need to go, but it's gonna be extremely hard to get there. I don't know if she's protecting that. I don't know if she's down there. And then the last sentence from this section is, alongside the planet itself, she'll employ several different viruses and reality-shaping tools to repel potential interlopers. Different viruses and reality-shaping tools. Again, this makes me think that the biomes are actually going to change as we are playing through the DLC. So the world around us might not be as stationary as we are used to in the base game. The viruses will definitely appear as glitches or as stuff that shouldn't be there, so those might try to trick us as we're going on about a mission. But the reality shaping tools, that's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's gonna make us teleport to a different version of a biome. I'm just speedballing here. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that can actually happen or if they can actually do that in the game. But I don't know what else reality shaping tools means. And then it also says the planet's growing instability, so the planet becomes harder to deal with. Again, I think it's gonna change as you play. And they also say she's continued to make it more and more hostile. So I think as you start the DLC, the planet is gonna look a certain way, and by the time you are done with the story of the DLC, the planet is gonna be much harder, and it keeps getting harder as you progress. That's my take on it. I think they are gonna do something like that. They said it's gonna be harder than the base game, and they said you're gonna have to think on your feet just to survive. So that means that you need to think fast and act accordingly. And why else would you need to think fast if the planet didn't change? If you already knew what the biome has to offer and you were already in there, then the second time you come through, why would you have to think on your feet? I think the planet's gonna change. If you put all the things together, she makes it more and more hostile. She's got reality shaping tools, and the planet has growing instability. I'm pretty sure the planet's gonna shift. If that's the case, this is so much bigger than all the other stuff that's in this DLC. If we have environmental shifts and a progression in the environment, which we didn't have before. But I don't know if I'm just reading too much into it. I really hope they did something along those lines. That would be insane, but maybe that's a little bit too ambitious. However, I still hope that's gonna be the case. And that ties into the fact that they said it's gonna be a new type of gameplay, so they are adding new gameplay. I don't know exactly what that means, but they said new gameplay is going to be added to the base game and to the DLC. So far we don't have any clues to what that might be. I was thinking maybe how the planet shifts, you're gonna have to do something, and that's the new gameplay, but if it's added to the base game as well, that can't be it. In the Steam description they say they've got a new tech tree, modules and gameplay. So the new tech tree will allow you to unlock new stuff, meaning the new modules, I guess. And we also get a new shelter with a tier 2 attachment slot because we've got an interesting module. You can actually see it on the back of some buggies in the trailer. And Joe said that's gonna serve multiple purposes, so it's not just for one thing. And he said a lot of the gameplay will revolve around that item. But on the Steam description it says, using a mixture of new and old technology, they'll need to think on their feet just to survive. So it's a mixture of new and old technology. That means you're gonna be using the items from the base game, obviously, with the new ones, but maybe there's more to it. Maybe you actually have to attach the old ones to this new thing. Maybe this is sort of a multi-purpose thing, meaning you can use it with different items or something like that. I'm not sure. I actually saw that the item that's on the back of the rovers actually has a thing on the side where you can attach a tier 1 thing, like you can put a resource in there or a solar panel or something like that. That's what it looks like, so maybe you can put different stuff in there and it has different functions based on it. That's just speculation. But talking about speculation, we might have storms back. At the end of the trailer you can see a black thing in the distance. That's not how storms used to look, they weren't as black. Some people actually said this might be a black hole. I think it might be some sort of glitchy storm. Like, it's a storm, but it's not natural. It's made by Lynn because she controls the environment and the atmosphere and all that. And I don't know if that storm moves or if it's in one place or if she can just spawn it wherever she wants as you're doing missions. So that storm might actually play a part in the gameplay, as in it only appears at specific scripted moments in the missions. When you complete a certain mission, then the storm shows up. I don't know if it's gonna be just random as it used to be in the old game where it could just come whenever. But you know, I've been asking for storms to be back in Astroneer ever since they were removed. So if that's any sort of storm, I'm super excited about it. But what do you think it is? Please let me know in the comment section below because I want to see all your thoughts down there. Another important aspect is that the DLC content will be on a separate game file. It's not gonna be on your normal base game save file, meaning you won't be able to fly your shuttle from any planet to Aeolus and back. You can only access the planet through the menu in the game, so you have to load that save. But this makes it so that you're gonna start from scratch in there. You can just go from a late game save and just go in there and finish the DLC in an hour. You're gonna have to start from scratch, and because this is harder than the base game, that makes sense. This probably also serves a purpose in optimizing the game. If they were on the same save, I imagine things would have gotten pretty laggy. And if I'm right about the thing with the new planet and the new solar system, that they might want to add future planets in there, then they would have one save for the original solar system and a different one for the different solar system where they keep adding the planets. Again, that's just speculation on my part, but that might be one of the reasons they chose to do it in a separate save. Another thing I want to talk about is new minerals and resources. So in the stream, somebody asked about new minerals and Joe said they are 100% coming in the Glitchwalkers DLC. So we will 100% get new resources. In the trailer, you can actually see some pink stuff over in a Vesania looking part of the planet. I don't know if you can collect those as resources, but it looks like it, maybe. But I'm really excited to get new resources in Astroneer. We didn't get that in quite a while. If I remember correctly, we didn't get that for the last couple of years. I mean, obviously we got resources like the Resi Pound, that was new, but you couldn't actually collect it in the wild, you know. So if they're actually talking about resources that you find on the ground and collect with your terrain tool, and new resources like that, that's massive because there's gonna be new recipes. We know we've got a new tech tree and modules, so you're gonna have to craft that, and it will be really interesting to only be able to craft that with some new resources instead of using the same old ones you've been using so far. We're probably gonna get more details until it releases, but let's talk about when will it come out. So they said 2024, that means the next 3 months. My personal guess is between Halloween and Christmas, so maybe by the end of November. We need to have a Halloween event, right? And we need to have a Christmas event, so in between those would be a pretty good time to release a DLC. And game developers tend to release their games or DLCs right before the Christmas holidays, because that's a time where people spend more stuff and they have more free time to play video games. So I would say it's definitely coming before the Christmas holidays and definitely after Halloween. Don't take my word on it, but I would say the end of November. Another important thing is that it will come out on all platforms at the same time, so that's good news for the people on Nintendo Switch, for example, who used to get updates a little bit later than the rest. But you're gonna be able to play this on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and I think that's it. I don't know if you can play Astroneer anywhere else, but you'll be able to play on all of those. Just a quick announcement I want to make. I started a Discord server, it's out right now, so if you want to chat or play together, you can join my server, and you'll find the link in the description below. Apart from that, if you want to stay up to date on all things Astroneer, then click that subscribe button too, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers, Astroneers!